It's time for the Rick Smith Show. Now, here is the voice of the working class, Rick Smith.
And welcome, brothers, sisters, working class heroes. This is the Rick Smith Show. Thanks so much for being here today on the big program. Lots to get to, lots to talk about. Republicans want to start World War III. That's right. Come September 30th, we're looking towards another government shutdown because Republicans in the House are saying, you know what? We didn't get the pound of flesh we wanted. We didn't get the pain and the misery. We didn't get the recession that we were hoping for. So you've got, according to Axios, you've got a Republican lawmaker saying, hey, this spending fight's going to be World War III. We're going nuclear. And understand, they need it. They need this. They need a recession. The only chance they've got in 2024 is to cause mass pain and suffering and struggle and recession. It has to happen. That's when you do when you're running for office and you do your 4 boxes, you know, what you're going to say about yourself, what you're going to say about your opponent, what your opponent's going to say about you, and all of that. When you fill that out, in all 4 of those boxes, Republicans need recession. That's basically what it is. Number 1, we need a recession. We need the economy to tank because guess what? It's doing well. Jobs are up, wages going up, inflation going down. And that's why today when President Biden tweeted out, remember when the experts said that to get inflation under control, we needed to lower wages and drive up unemployment? He said, I never bought that. Instead, I focused on getting more Americans into the workforce, fixing our broken supply chains, and lowering costs. And it's working. Yeah, it is. It's working. And that's got Republicans losing their ever-loving flipping minds. And they need chaos. They need a recession. They need fear. Which is why we're seeing all this other craziness. Why we're seeing all the rewrite of history in Florida, while we're seeing all of the culture war stuff, the stuff that's going to keep us pitted against each other and throwing bombs at each other from the sidewalks. Now, today, the big story, obviously, the president got together with 7 of the big tech companies, Amazon, Google, Inflection, Meta, Microsoft, OpenAI, and Anthropic. I've never heard of them, but I guess they're a big one too. And they've come to some voluntary guidelines for AI. Now, the administration says that they've secured commitments on responsible innovation. And I got to be honest, as much as I love Joe, I don't know, responsible innovation out of the tech gurus, not so on board. But here's the thing. Congress isn't going to do its job. Congress is so far out of this that this is the best we're going to do. Biden coming together and saying, hey, there's got to be some minimal things. Now, understand, the tech companies, I don't trust any agreement that's voluntary. Oh, sure. Yeah, we'll do that. Bet on that. Checks in the mail. And I certainly don't trust tech companies when they say they'll voluntarily do something. But this is a success, I got to say. It's a first baby step. I mean, very, very small baby. A very small baby step. But as I said, Congress has got to get their heads out of their, and get ahead of this before the genie's completely out of the bottle and we're completely screwed when AI takes over. Because understand, there's going to be a tsunami of job loss. This technology, along with robotics and automation and all that, going to replace us in large numbers. And this is why you're seeing in union contracts them fighting against the use of AI. them fighting against the use of automation, because they know that once corporate America goes, hey, we can flip the switch and have a robot or a computer or artificial software come out and say, you know what, we can work 24/7, 365. Don't need vacations, don't need days off, certainly don't take sick time. And there's a lot of problems with the AI revolution that we should be concerned with. The fact that, it's who feeds the system decides what comes out. This is the scary part of this for me is, because look, I'm looking at what they're doing in places like Florida, rewriting history. The people who have always rewritten history have always done it to benefit themselves at the expense of whoever else, whatever the loser was. Their history is never told. AI is going to be the same thing. The person who writes the code, the person who inputs all of the information that AI chooses from, that's power. So this idea that we could basically train this system to continue to have all the biases and all of the discrimination that made America great, that should be frightening. And the fact that there isn't any real transparency in this system, that we don't know how the machinery works. I mean, these wonderful algorithms that keep feeding me crap on my social media page. Understand, social media is that's like a little tidbit of what the future is going to be. So if you're not thrilled with what you get from your social media accounts, the kind of garbage that's sent to you constantly, imagine when they take over. And then start thinking about the privacy problems and the idea of the security problems. The idea of us having any personal privacy is long gone. Some argue I'm already behind in saying that it's gone. I like to hold on to the illusion that we still have some bit of privacy, some bit of ourselves left. But once this AI takes over, once this brave new world comes around, there's none of that. And look, at the end of this, as we talked yesterday with Raphael, who's on strike with the Writers Guild, the idea that human creativity and the idea of any personal touch to something is over. And then, look, all of the economic problems that come with it, massive inequality. I've seen some of the people on social media going, this is going to be the greatest year. I think his name's Gary V. I've seen Gary V going, AI is going to create millionaires, lots of them. We're going to have millionaires created because of this. And you go, yeah, duh. Didn't need to be a genius to figure that one out, Gary. Because in every transition, there are winners, handful of winners, and all of the rest of the people, losers, the working people who are going to take it on the chin. But this is even worse, because this just isn't a technological change that's going to, make massive productive improvements. It's going to. And those productive improvements going to the handful that they're going to put it in their pocket and screw over working people. It's more than that. I mean, it's everything we do. It's our entire democratic process. I mean, we're in a moment right now where confirmation bias is all around us. We're in a moment right now where you can be in your camps, where you got your bubble and I only want Fox News, or I only want, whatever is on the left. I don't know. Is there anything on the left? I guess the CNN was blamed for being left for a while. I guess MSNBC, they're kind of a corporate left, maybe. There's no Fox News for the left. There really isn't. And this is what we're going to get in the future. All you're going to get is the corporate side of things. All you're going to get is what the people who control the systems and the algorithms feed into it. So the fact that you're going to have millionaires made out of this, you're going to have wealthy people, really wealthy people made out of this. The vast majority of us, we're screwed. Because not only are we not going to benefit from the financial part of it, because the handful of people who run these big tech companies are going to get it, but also the way for us to fight back will be rigged. because, well, where do we get our news and information? Social media. Who runs this? Big tech. So I look at the measures that President Biden negotiated, the administration negotiated. I'm going, okay, these are, kind of, this is what the tech industry has said, we're willing to give you as a voluntary commitment. But I really have no faith that they're going to hold to this for long. But these are some of the things that they wanted to do. And one of the big ones is using watermarks on audio and visual content so that we, the dim, we can say, oh yeah, that's an AI product. So when Donald Trump, they have a video of him mouthing and saying the words that he tweeted, you go, no, that's not him saying that. He may have tweeted it, but that's not him actually saying it. Because there are already deep fakes out there where people are going, I didn't say that. You go, no, you didn't. And that should scare you. So the watermarks, that's a good idea. They also want to allow independent experts to push these models into bad behavior and process something known as red teaming. So they're going to try and booger up the system so they can figure out how to fix it. Okay, that's one thing. Sharing trust and safety information with government agencies and other companies. Yeah, that's going to happen. And the right will lose their mind because, the government's working with the tech companies. And even I'm a little weirded out by that. Investing in cybersecurity measures, we certainly need to do that. Encouraging third parties to uncover security vulnerabilities. Yeah, they're going to be third, fourth, fifth, sixth, foreign countries, people who hate us. There's going to be a lot of that. And understand, once they get the ability to hack into our AI systems, it's amazing how fast the common sense of the country has changed. As somebody who's a little bit older, you got people go, was it like this when you were younger? And the answer is no, it was never like this. 30 years ago, the me of then coming to now would be, canceled immediately, but enraged at what we've become. So we're in this space. Also reporting societal risks, such as inappropriate uses and biases. Yeah, that's probably not going to happen. Prioritizing research on AI's societal risks. Yeah, we should be doing that. And our government should be doing that as a matter of course. And using the most cutting AI system known as frontier modeling to solve society's greatest problems. You know what society's greatest problems are right now? The people behind AI. That's what frightens me. The people who have the control of what is going to be the most powerful tool in the history of humanity to change hearts and minds, to get people to groupthink. Because again, the people who pull the strings, it's amazing how many people I talk to who don't realize that the social media accounts they have, that there's an algorithm that feeds them what the algorithm thinks they want to see. And they wonder why all they see is craziness like they believe. There's never anything to challenge that because it's all about keeping your eyes on social media. It's all about getting you to look at Instagram or Facebook or whatever. It's all about keeping you hooked. It's all about giving you that drug that you crave and the outrage that you need. They're masters at this. So the fact that Biden got a little bit of something, good on Biden for doing this. But again, I don't trust any voluntary agreement, especially with tech companies. This is why Congress has got to regulate. I know regulation is a horrible idea in Republican circles, but you're going to have to come around to it because this, my friends, this could be the end of this wonderful thing we call representative democracy. But I want to hear your thoughts. Email me, rick@thericksmithshow.com. I'm going to take a quick break. Also, give us a call, 1-866-416-RICK, 1-866-416-7425. This is The Rick Smith Show. We're working people. Come to talk.
From the steel mills of Pennsylvania, to the auto factories of Michigan, to the modern makers movement, manufacturing makes our nation great. I'm Scott Paul, president of the Alliance for American Manufacturing. We bring business and labor together to advocate for policies that everyone can agree on. Together, we can strengthen manufacturing and create good-paying American jobs. Help us keep it made in America.
We are AFGE, the American Federation of Government Employees. We represent 700,000 federal and D.C. government workers who are the vital threads of the fabric of American life. We support our nation's military. We take care of our nation's veterans. We protect our nation's borders. We respond to our nation's crises and natural disasters. We provide services to our nation's seniors. The American Federation of Government Employees. We work for America.
The old factory towns in America's heartland have been taking a beating. Thing is, though, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Unions are making a comeback. More organizing in the last couple of years than in a long time. And the Biden administration being more supportive of unions than any president since FDR. We're finally turning things around after 40 years of screwing over working people. But will we keep moving in the right direction? That's our choice as Americans.
It takes a lot to raise a family. A good job, a good salary, and some patience. A lot of people my age are drowning in college debt, but I chose a different path. I'm a member of the IBEW, the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. I work hard for my job, and I love what I do. I had a lot of choices for my future, but I made the best choice for my family. IBEW, the right choice.
So Bob Casey, senator from my state of Pennsylvania, running for re-election, and hopefully he is re-elected easily because I think he's one of the really good guys in the Senate. He's got a new piece of legislation that he's going to be moving. It's called the No Robot Bosses Act. And you go, well, it's about damn time, because we've been talking about places like Amazon who, you know, AI already is watching everything they do. People are being fired by computer, by text, because everything they do is monitored by a handheld unit. If you're not touching a box, so every couple of seconds, it's barking at you, asking you, what are you doing? Where are you going? Why aren't you doing this? And you know, constant surveillance, constantly under the watchful eye of the computer. And now Casey has this No Robot Bosses Act, which, what he says right now, there's nothing stopping a corporation from using artificial intelligence to hire, manage, or even fire workers without involvement of a human being. He goes on to say, as robot bosses become more prevalent in the workplace, we have an obligation to protect working families from the dangers of employers misusing and abusing the novel technologies. And his legislation would ban employers from relying exclusively on automated decisions, these systems to make employment decisions. Now, my problem is with the wording, relying exclusively. How much is exclusively? All of it? 99% of it? Can we use 98% of what the computer says? Also, it requires periodic testing, such for systems of possible discrimination and bias before they're used in employment decisions. Also requires training for those using the systems, if there are any humans left. Mandate human oversight of the automated decision systems before they are used in employment decisions. Require disclosures of the use of the system, and create the Technology and Worker Protection Division within the Department of Labor. Now, again, I come back to the simple answer in Rick Smith's world, and you all know what that is. If you've listened to this show any longer than 5 minutes, you know what my solution to this is. My solution to this is, right now, every working person should join a labor union. Right now, everyone should get a collective bargaining agreement. Right now, everyone should band together with their coworkers, whether you start your own or use an existing union, but fight for a contract that has language in it. You know, these laws, while we're going to pass potentially, I don't see Republicans coming along. Maybe I'm wrong. But the No Robot Bosses Act, there's always going to be a loophole, because, as it says in the first thing I read, employers aren't going to be able to use exclusively the information. They can't use exclusively, but 99.94%, that's okay. It's not exclusive. I mean, this is how bad it can get. So for me, the idea that you have representation in the workplace and ability to sit down and say, hey, this is how this is being used, or how you're not going to use it. At some point, we have to be the ones who say no. We have to be the ones who say, you know what, we've got to band together and fight back. Literally fighting the machine. Because if we do nothing in this moment, and understand, I'm not seeing the kind of outrage that I think we should be seeing. I'm not hearing the kind of concern that I think we should be seeing. I see the Writers Guild and the Screen Actors. I see them fighting for their future. The idea that, I mean, think about this for a second. When I found out that the studios were going, we're going to pay extras to come in, and we'll pay them one time $100 a day or whatever it is, and then we're going to take their image and their likeness, and we're going to use it forever. Forever. We'll never have to pay an extra again. All those people who were eking out an existence in Hollywood trying to be actors or writers or whatever, their livelihood is over once that happens. Because a lot of people have made ends meet by, well, today I'll go over and I'll play an extra here and I'll pick up a couple of bucks to put food on the table or keep a roof. That's done. And the studios are like, that's great. We can get rid of all these people. We've got their image. We can use it for whatever we want. It's great. AI is fabulous. We won't even need actors in the future. It's all going to be robotics. It's all going to be animation and automation. And that sounds great because, look, there are a lot of good things that AI can bring us. Look, medically, it should, honestly, it should be able to do away with the high cost of healthcare. I get this, me personally, I get an upper respiratory infection almost every year. It's like clockwork, except for the last couple, knock on something. But it's one of those things where, I back in the old days when I had a personal doctor, and I had a good relationship with the doctor, who he has since retired and sold his practice to a behemoth corporation you're just a number. But I used to call him up and say, hey, I got my respiratory infection again. He goes, okay, I'll just write you a script. Just go pick it up. I know your problem. You don't have to come in. You don't have to. And he wouldn't charge me. Wouldn't charge my insurance. It was just hey, I know what it is. I could call up to one of the AI doctors and go, here's my symptoms. This is my record. This is, and then we go, yeah, you got an upper respiratory infection. Bang, here's a prescription. There are things that we can do. You could go in, hey, I got a cold or whatever. That low level, an instant kind of healthcare stuff that could be all done by AI and could be helpful for doctors in not being bogged down by the little stuff that we're now having PAs or other people do. That could be something helpful. Now, what are you going to do with all those people who are potentially down the road going to lose their jobs? I'm not so worried about that right now because we don't have enough of them. This is where AI can be helpful. This is where it can fill a gap. But here's the problem. Once we start down this road, once that ball starts rolling, you don't stop it. And this is where, again, Congress has got their heads so far up the entertainment wagons behind that I don't know enough people are doing this. Now, for those people who are saying, well, Democrats are no different than Republicans. No, Democrats are actually trying to get some of this stuff done. In fact, there's also, I think it was Cory Booker and Bob Casey, who came forth with the Exploitative Workplace Surveillance and Technologies Task Force Act. That would create a task force to look into surveillance in the workplace. Because should you be monitored every second you're at work? Should everything you do be, and do you have the right to say no? Not today, you don't. I want to hear your thoughts. Is this something that's concerning to you? Email me, rick@thericksmithshow.com. I'll take a quick break. Right back. Stick around.
I took 2 years of electric in high school, and I was the only girl in the class there. Here, I'm the only girl as far as installers go. I'm a single mom, too. I joined the union because it gave me options for health care and life insurance so that I know my son's taken care of. I like what I do. Like, this is the best job I've ever had. You think solar panels is more like California. You wouldn't think Appalachia would have any. It would be smart if the government would invest more in clean energy resources.
I've been driving buses for 5 years, and my day-to-day routine is I wake up a little earlier than most people. I get on a bus, I go out, I pick up some students and make sure they get to school nice and safe. Here in Fairbanks, Alaska, that can be a challenge because of the winter weather and the icy roads. But I love the job. So the Teamsters are great. They provide us a lot of protections. They've always taken care of their people, made sure that our jobs were secure. We didn't have to worry about whether or not we'd have a job from day to day.
And that's amazing because before we'd be working 4, 6, 8 hours a day and only earning minimum wage was real difficult to make a living. And then the Teamsters pushed a lot so we make something we can live off of and not have to have a second job. What absolutely gives me peace of mind, the union membership allows me to focus on this job without having to worry about whether or not my family is going to be taken care of. I'm Andrew Case, and I'm proud to be Teamsters Local 959.
Before we close the program, we want to take a moment to thank our viewers and to share a little bit about why we do what we do. At the Rick Smith Show, we believe that media today is almost entirely controlled by corporate greed. So we have now 24-hour news channels. But instead of 24 hours of news, what we get is 1 hour repeated 24 times, and with tons of commercials creating obscene amounts of profits. Information once presented as a public service has now become a private commodity. So when lies make money, lies are what we get. We get a corporate-controlled rage machine feeding us anger and hate, trying to convince us that our problems are right-left or red-blue, when they are and always have been up-down, the wealthiest 1% versus the rest of us. Our goal is to be an alternative to that machine, not as a news show with a fancy journalist out front, but as a talk show run by a union truck driver and a team of working-class heroes just like you. Everything we do, both what we get right and what we get wrong, is dedicated to advancing the interests of America's working families. No corporate ad buys, no think tanks, no focus groups, no talking points. We are media by working people, for working people. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you back here next time.